Nas is performing at the Grammys, and according to All Hip Hop, Nas has no plans to boycott the Grammys. He's performing. I'm gonna just put it out there, and I want to ask the fans first of all: do you think it's a good idea for Nas to perform at the Grammys this year, with the possibility of a Grammys boycott, or I don't even want to say boycott, but just hip hop banding together to actually put together another show that rivals the Grammys? What do you think, Coop?
No. Talk to the people for 2 seconds. I gotta go check on something right quick. Okay. I want to see what the people think about it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my first thought is that I don't like this at all for his legacy.
I want to see what the people have to say here in the chat. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea. I think that if hip hop is banding together to actually do a rival show, I think collectively hip hop as a force should stand on that platform and do it. People in the chat are saying no. Joe Bro says Grammy's definitely about to give the Grammy to Nas now. LOL. Hussein says no. Mr. Rockless says Nas can perform wherever he wants. Terminator 2 says yes, he should. Okay. For the people saying yes, and I disagree slightly. What does Nas performing at the Grammys this year actually do for him? That's the question. Now, for the Grammys, that actually gives them credibility to have somebody like Nas, the greatest of all time in many of our eyes, and someone who's actually putting out great work. That actually credentializes them. But what does him performing at the Grammys actually do for him at this point? Gray88 says, we have award shows full of favoritism and politics. That rival show will be a popularity contest. I think the thing with the rival the rival broadcast would just be about performances. And hip hop brings a lot of eyes to the Grammys and via performances. Because no one's really watching award shows just to see who wins, or at least I don't. I think most people watch award shows just for the performances alone. And if hip hop can actually show, what hip hop brings to that mechanism, I think that really helps us move forward and moving away from those type of programs. So you went and got some notes?
No, I have I want everybody to see this notebook. This ghetto notebook from the Dollar Tree is for A2 HH, and I had some notes in here.
You had some. Were those notes for this topic specifically?
Notes and ratings and about some of the thoughts about it, because also this notebook too, and I keep notebooks and stuff I used to keep my rhymes, is to document stuff that happens. We're not always going to be here, and so it's I kind of want generations that come after me and my daughter and stuff to see the stuff that I was writing about, talking about even on this show. It's people be able to watch the show one day, Mike, but I want my family to be able to see my notes and stuff. He was really Of course. It's a documentation of it. It's part of family legacy stuff,
I love it. Miss LB says, Nas been boycotting the Grammys when everybody else was going. Now he has the opportunity to attend. Now he can't go. I mean,
see, what I tell you.
He could do whatever he wants. He could do whatever he wants. I think that, again, my thing is at this point in his career, and at this juncture in hip-hop in general, what does him performing at the Grammys really do for him? It's clear what this does for the Grammys. It credentializes them. It gives them credibility by having the greatest MC of all time on their stage performing his record, for their program. And what me and Coop were talking about offline, the problem I have with this mostly is we just spoke about Wednesday how Magic is still being ignored. What is mainstream? And again, the Grammys are clicked in with all of the mainstream sources when it comes to this music. What has mainstream media or mainstream outlets, period, done for the Magic project? Have they really bumped that up? Have they really talked about that? Have they really had people write up about this righteously? No, they haven't. So in that case, I'm like, what does this performance really do?
So when you said that, and this is what I mean about why I take notes on stuff, because I had a feeling that this conversation was going to spark something in me. I'm like, and I got a couple notes. I was like, let me grab my notepad right quick. I think one of Malcolm X's most startling quotes, and I don't know if I have it all the way down, so, you know, if I misquote it, but I'm going to be able to get the ethos of the quote right. You don't stick a knife in my back 7 inches, pull it out 4 inches, and then want to talk about progress. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's not progress when the knife goes 7 inches deep in my back. You only pull it out 4 inches, and then you say that you're here to protect me or to help me. And so what I would say to this is that that's why I don't like it for Nas, because, well, this is part of the establishment, quite frankly, that has kept you from being recognized as the greatest MC of all time, because they have lauded and applauded your contemporaries and sung their praises in your prime in a way they never, ever, ever did for you until literally KD1 getting nominated and now winning, and KD2 most likely doing the same thing. And here's why I don't like it, because when I heard he was performing, I'm like, well, look who's winning back-to-back Best Rap Album Grammys.
Yeah. Godfather with the super chat says nobody boycotted Summer Jam when they flipped on him. It's a good point.
That's our last point.
Huh? Yeah. Ray Rims with the super chat.
But so much of his legacy is rooted in him being anti-establishment when he takes the establishment route.
Yeah. Ray Rims says Nas attending Grammys during Jay Prince's show is a genius idea. If he steps to the podium accepting the trophy, then shouts out Jay Prince on the show. I don't understand how that helps.
No, I like that. No. I get what he's saying, Mike. What he's saying is that, okay, you know, I had a guy that told me a long time ago that the way that this system is designed, in order for us to succeed as Black people, because I'm sick of this people of color shit. I think we're going to get into that. But yeah, that's right. For us to succeed as Black people, though, we have to be able to play the inside and the outside. So if Nas has an inside game and he's going to shout out Jay Prince and Kanye and what's going on and what they're doing, I'm all for it. But anything less than that, it's really not going to do. Because this is somebody that's gone to the Grammys, like, to promote his nigger album. Like, remember all that?
Mm-hmm.
With the yeah, he went to the Grammys like that. Okay? Yeah. So it's like, we're talking about that guy. Like, that's what his legend is rooted in. Okay?
Yeah.
And so, as long as he's like, what do we talk about? Staying on message, staying on topic. Those same rules apply even if you're the greatest MC of all time. We're not changing nothing about what we're doing, because we've been apparently his main supporter and main advocator of him being called the greatest MC of all time. This is not an overall good look unless he is going to do what the person who just made that sentiment or expressed that sentiment stated.
Ray Rims, yeah. Shout out to Ryan Gillum with the super chat as well. He said, I feel like Big Crit's catalog has more replay value than Kendrick's catalog. Still to this day. I still play Forever and a Day more than Mad City. That's an interesting topic. Listen, and we can get into that too. There's a lot to unpack from what you just said and what Ray Rims said. This is my thing. If he goes up there to bum rush the stage on some real, I mean, that's pretty much what hip hop's rooted in. Go out there, take the microphone, and use that quote-unquote platform to do what you want. I can see that. But I think that a show like the Grammys, especially in today's time or with the past of this of this program, this event, I think they have all kind of delays. I think that they have things pretty foolproof where you're not able to do things like that. I don't even know if they're going to televise the Best Rap Album Award, where he could go on stage and say any of that. Now, if he performs, I would, you know how they do with these hip hop performances, man. And I've even written articles about this before too. They super supervise these hip hop performances. You remember when Wu-Tang got on Good Morning America and performed, I think it was Cream or something. They were blocking out words that weren't even curse words just to make it sound worse than it was. So if he got on stage with all this stuff going on, and that's the possible notion, you better believe they're not going to let that message get out there, because the thing is, you're on their dime now. And that's the problem. And that's why I don't feel like that's a plausible plan. All you got to do is just step away from their platform, because I don't even know how that could even help. Let's just say he does say that. What's that going to help?
Part of his, just so much of his, I've told you this, part of why I feel and I believe him to be the greatest MC of all time is because, well, every time you talk about him, it's usually about some rap shit. And when you go to all the other greatest MCs of all time who are comparable to him, especially from his era, well, there are so many other things attached to their aura and their legacy. His legacy is attached to some rap shit. The Grammys ain't no rap shit. It ain't never really been about no rap shit. And I got 4 names in a box right here that he needs to remember, because these are the people they've been taking care of the entirety of the time that he's been in his prime or post-prime or just had a career. Eminem, Jay-Z, Kanye West, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Those are the people those are the people he's been looking out for. And so, you know, I just don't like it.
I see somebody saying, why y'all want Nas to stick his neck out for artists who never showed him the same respect? What do you mean stick his neck out? Kanye just produced the whole album for him. I think Kanye has always looked out for Nas. And first of all, what would he be sticking his neck out for?
Nas be talking that black business, black ownership, black power, empowerment, anti-establishment.
This is a black empowerment move. So it's not really him sticking his neck out. It's actually him going with something that we know him to be about anyway, right? And not to mention that all of this is happening to said Kanye West. Kanye West had him on late registration when him and Jay were still going through it, and went out his way to say that Nas is his favorite rapper. Went out his way to make sure that Nas was a part of his stuff. Made sure that when they made Classic, they did this thing together. Made sure on Hip Hop Is Dead, he was on there. Made Papa was a player. Come on now.
I was about to say, Kanye.
Let's not say people ain't never looked out.
No. Let's back all the way up. Nas been rapped. Okay, Kanye West, first major placement is Turn It Out on Jermaine Dupri's 1472. Who's rapping on that track?
Nas.
Okay, okay. What's that? That's Kanye's first placement, right? Right. So So like,
even after all this work with Jay, right? And even after doing Watch the Throne, Kanye goes out his way to say Nas is his favorite rapper.
To this day.
Straight up.
Look here. That Midwest, that Chicago, Detroit, they love Nas and Tupac. They love that content and that subject matter.
And he said that on Drink Champs, one of his most recent interviews.
Well, we did?
Yeah, he said Nas is his favorite rapper on Drink Champs. Remember we were covering that? Because that was even a topic.
Yeah, he says a lot.
Yeah.
He did.
Miss LB said with the super chat says, so he's supposed to show support now when his peers never backed him in the past, knowing when he was being jacked for awards. Rigor says, if Nas brings out Jay to do Black Republican, those things are not going to happen. And again, what is he sticking?
No. What did he say?
It's not happening.
Mike, don't do that.
It's not happening.
Don't be that way.
We got to be realistic.
We are being realistic.
This is their show. Now, you know what could happen? You know what would be realistic? If they went to Vegas with Jay Prince and did Black Republican, that could happen. But them getting on the Grammy stage to do Black Republican is not going to happen.
Mike, they invited Nas to perform at the Grammys. I never thought that shit was happening.
It's happening. Let's keep it a buck, y'all. And I want to respond
like,
to Ms. LB. She said she was saying that his peers never backed him. Let's be real. Grammys are inviting Nas because they're desperate. They're inviting Nas to perform because they're desperate. That's the bottom line. Ooh, they don't support his efforts for real, for real. They're not supporting Magic. We're the only people talking about Magic. Last year, this man put out two of the best albums, period. And two of the best albums in hip-hop. So let's not sit here and act like he would be ruining some sort of relationship. The Grammys are only doing this because they're getting pressure. And they're using Nas.
Now look here. First of all, he dropped the best 2 rap albums last year.
Yeah.
like the best 2 rap albums he made last year with his old ass. And this is where you said something strong. I think they're listening to him and watching him for credibility right now.
Mm-hmm.
Woo for the Children should have had a Grammy since Old Dirty said Woo for the Children. No, they hear shit like that now because they're watching him, because they nominated KD1 and gave it a Grammy, which is the weakest of these 3 by far. Like if you're lining up, how many records is this between the 3 albums? About 35?
Yeah.
Okay, so the 10 best records, none of them are on KD1. Okay? So KD1's not strong and it won the Grammy, but they're watching him. And so when you're saying something about the credibility, it makes you think that it's like, oh, well, they might be trying to put him in play because they're desperate about all the times that they've denied him.
I want to respond to some of the things here.
Missing the fucking mark is because Alfredo still should have won the Grammy over King's Disease 1 anyway.
Joe Bro says KD2 was nominated. Magic passed the deadline. I'm not talking about Magic passing the deadline. I'm just talking about mainstream media even speaking about this effort. Boulder 2009 says, oh, so Mike, where was black media when Nas dropped KD2 and Magic? We are right here.
We're right here.
That's where we're at. Who do you think is black media? That's the better question I would have for you. Is there any black-owned media? Do you think Revolt is black-owned? Do you think that iHeartMedia and The Breakfast Club are black-owned?
How you gonna say that? Okay, so
we were right here talking about it, and you could easily go to the search bar on YouTube and listen to us talk about KD for the whole year, KD2 for the whole year last year. The praises that we gave Magic. We were right here. Our guys at Rap Roundtable were talking about it too. But I want to know who you deem black media. Because the people that you may deem black media probably aren't even black media.
So,
because I want to hear specific names. Let's get real specific here. Because we can't just say overall black media. Who are we talking about? What black media are you guys talking about that weren't talking about these efforts? Excuse me, because I would imagine if we start digging deep, they're not really black media at all. They just got black faces in front of them.
So according to hip hop, I can't speak for everybody else. According to hip hop, it's black owned. So Mike, so Mike owns.
I take that personally. I'm just saying.
No. You should take that shit personally. Mike owns almost all of According to Hip Hop. Like almost all of it. So this is a black-owned place. What Mike doesn't own, guess what? Other black people own. Everybody that's been involved with According to Hip Hop, black. Everybody behind the scenes, black. What the fuck?
But no, I mean, it ain't even that. It's just, look, a lot of these media outlets that you may think are black-owned aren't. I mean, iHeartMedia, who, you know, Charlamagne the God and all of them work for The Breakfast Club, it's not black-owned. And honestly, you know, if you dig deep and look at the board of outlets like Revolt, you will see that it's not as black-owned as you think it is, but, you know, that's all I'll say there. Ray Rim says, yes, the Grammys will employ...
Damn, white people own these black people. What's wrong with y'all? Don't you know
true.
White people still own these black people that you look up to? Don't you know this shit? Didn't you hear me say we was outside and don't nobody own us or we don't belong to nobody. What part of that shit don't y'all understand? That's because most of these motherfuckers, like 90% of these weak ass motherfuckers who y'all follow, they belong to somebody. Fuck that whole shit.
Ray Realms with the super chat. He says, yes, the Grammys will employ countermeasures, but Mike, the true footage will get leaked instantaneously. There is a severe lack of Trojan horses against the uncultured culture vultures. Why does he even have to do all that? Just don't do the show. Because my thing is, the Grammys ain't never showed Nas love before. Why is he sticking? Y'all want to talk about sticking your neck out? Why is he sticking his neck out for his credibility for their fucking show? We want to talk about sticking your neck out for people who ain't never looked out for you. It's crazy. Y'all want to sit here and say that the people who are out here trying to do their own show, he would be sticking his neck out for them and they never looked out for him. What has the Grammys ever really done for Nas? What has the mainstream media ever really done for Nas? But shit on him. And we've also been people who've covered that over and over again. When we read these Rolling Stone articles, when we read these mainstream media articles about how they shit on Nas over and over and over again, now y'all saying that he needs to do their show against his own peers that are trying to do their own rival show, I disagree. It's not that important. Now, if he wants to do it for Hit Boy and wants to give Hit Boy his moment for his mom or whatever, that's cool. But Nas doesn't need this. It's not a good look, to be perfectly honest.
Shit, not a good look.
It's not. And the more we talk about it, the more it doesn't make sense.
No, right. The shit pisses me off more. Right. Right.
Because at first I was being like, whatever, but now it's like, it doesn't make sense at all.
But now I keep digging on it and the shit making me feel some type of way. Right.
Because these people ain't never had anything good to say about Nas, man. From KD1, KD2, it's clear that they're trying to use Nas for credibility because a lot of hip-hop artists are getting hip to the game and saying, fuck your award show. I mean, wait. Quavo just said Grammys don't matter. Now they need somebody on the team to say that it does matter. And they're using Nas for that.
So think about it.
Miss LB says, Mike D, I agree. I changed my stance.
The main guy who's been saying, get off my lawn, is walking onto the lawn, and y'all are telling him to walk on the lawn? Man.
It ain't that important.
Fuck all that.
It ain't that important.
Hey. And fuck the Grammys. Real talk. They ain't never really did shit for us.
No.
What, they let Kendrick dress up in jail clothes and march around? Yeah.
You sound like me, yo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh,
yeah, okay. Man.
Can we go what's next, Mike? What's the next topic?
I don't even know, man. Listen, I want to close it out with this. Look, I love Nas. I'm a huge Nas fan. I love Magic, KD2. I think they were the two best hip-hop albums of last year. But I fundamentally disagree with his decision to perform, if that is the final decision. Because honestly, I just don't think that the Grammys do anything for his career, his legacy, or hip-hop as a whole. Now, again, if he wants to do this for Hit Boy, and this is important to Hit Boy and everything that they built together, I get that. Because the Grammys might mean something different to Hit Boy, as a producer and as a man who's a lot younger than Nas. I get that. But as far as, like, how he's been treated by this institution and its offsprings, fuck them. Straight up. Rigorous says Nas power moving, expanding his billions. Chill out.
So I thought about that.
That's always no. That's always the notion.
So this is what I mean about him being the greatest MC of all time. His moves have always been attached to his MCing, never his business move or his business ventures. Even while he's been making himself viable in business, his greatness has always been attached to his MCing. This looks like a business and political move of the likes that he's never made or never had to make. Because guess what? Before he was making moves like this, greatest MC of all time. And a black media channel, as in right fucking here, was saying that and covering that. that.
This is the thing I want to say, man, and I think that people need to stop with this notion, and this is exactly what Jay Prince and whoever is trying to implement with this example. We need to stop thinking that we need a seat at the table and understand that you are the table. Nas is the table. He doesn't need them for this deal, that deal, that deal, this deal. They need him.
He's the greatest MC of
Period.
all time.
And nothing that he does on this stage is going to strengthen any connection to do some deal that he wouldn't do anyway. He's Nas.
Hey, like Joe Louis from Philly, right?
Mm-hmm.
When Joe Louis won the title, where'd he go? When he won the title for the first time, where'd he go?
Where did he go? He went to Apollo, was it?
No, when he won the title, he went back to the streets in Philly.
Yeah.
Right. Because even though he had become like the heavyweight champ, like he belonged to the people.
You always got to come home, man.
And this nigga been home the whole time. So it's like, you stepping outside now? You don't have to step outside now at all about anything for anybody, including the Grammys. And so,
again, as I said in the beginning, what do the Grammys or him performing at the Grammys add to him?
Right. He is the greatest MC of all time. They do nothing for him. They do nothing for him. He never needed the Grammy to be the greatest MC of all time. Never.
And all of those of us who have been following and understand what is going on, we understand that. We understand that he dropped Magic and KD2 last year. And the year before that, he dropped KD1. He's on a run. Maybe this is a chemistry thing, like I said, just to keep the momentum up. I ain't mad at that. But at the end of the day, I still think I don't agree with the move. I mean,
how about this? I needed to be on some rap shit, Mike. I needed to be on some rap shit to be okay with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And we know that, what I'm saying, this show really ain't about no rap shit, But
right,
again.
Because here's what I'm saying. It's like, and you and I even did the rundown. It's like, oh, they went through like a 12-year stretch where they pretty much just handed it to Eminem or Kanye.
Yeah. And honestly, man, let's keep it a buck. Kanye had to put them on the spot for his shit to get recognized. Every single year.
That shit all the time.
Yeah. Because every single year, they were giving it to Eminem just off GP. Kanye had to call the Grammys out on their bullshit to get an award. And Heavenly Sister says the Grammys has been suffering in ratings in the past few years. Hope Nas don't get used like a $2 hoe. Listen, this is about ratings, and I'm gonna say this, and we're gonna go on to the next subject. What people have to understand is, yes, television is always about ratings. And if you got all of these hip hop artists who bring the ratings, saying that nah, I'm cool on your show, then they start grasping for straws. They announced today or yesterday that Nas was going to be one of the performers. I hope he's not being used either. Again, it appears to be that way because we cover this hip hop stuff week to week, 2 times a week on here, and every day in the background. They ain't ranting and raving about his efforts. They haven't been talking about his efforts. Now, I could see if the Grammy and its institutions were bumping up all of the quality music that he made in the past year, but they haven't been doing that. They've been sending their writers to shit on his shit, and now y'all want him to perform since many of the big names in hip-hop are saying, nah, we good. Just saying.
I have a very viable question to ask, and this speaks to the Grammys' credibility or lack thereof. Mike, did Illmatic or It Was Written get nominated for a Grammy?
No.
Did the Lost Tapes, God's Son, get nominated for a Grammy?
I don't think so. I don't know off the top, but I don't.
What about Stillmatic?
I think Stillmatic might have got nominated. I think I Am got nominated.
I know I Am got nominated. So what I'm trying to tell you is I don't think Stillmatic got nominated either. When he was in his prime, like the prime work that makes him the greatest MC of all time, because you still find most of that work on Illmatic, It Was Written, Godson, The Lost Tapes, and Stillmatic. That is where about 80% of his greatest work lies, maybe 85.
Mm-hmm.
He got no nominations from them now, did he?
No, I'd be cool on them. And you know what? That's like if I'm Marvin Gaye.
So we cool on you though, right?
Yeah.
Because y'all didn't nominate Illmatic. It was written. Stillmatic. God said, well, did any of those get nominations or credibility from the Academy? Well, they don't fucking have any. Next.
Yeah. Don't treat me like I'm acceptable now. That's like Marvin Gaye not getting a nomination for, what's going on or something. And then you want me
to, Let's Get It On.
Yeah. And you want me to come to your show, man. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Jay Short with the super chat. Huh?
Okay. What Rick James say? Fuck your couch? Right. Yeah, there we go.
Jay Short with the super chat says, how Jay Prince fighting the machine, co-signing Drake, though? Well, I mean,
Hold on.
Drake's not going to their show either.
And I mean, no Jay Prince history. Jay Prince done fought local DA,
yeah,
federal DA, so like you name it. Like he's one of the few voices out here that when he talks about doing stuff for the culture and empowerment, even down to what he did when he was a boxing promoter. And I'm not even sure how involved with that he is now, but he's always been into the empowerment of our people, and his actions back it up.
Definitely. And you know what? And I will say this about Drake. I forgot what award it was he won. It might have been an American Music Award, but he got up there, won the award, and basically told young people out there, don't put your stock in these awards. They don't mean everything. That's big of him. Shout out to Jason with the super chat. He says, Nas deserves to do whatever he wants. Relax, Nori voice. I want to hear all this energy around all Black ran award shows. Ye and others never show up for the BET Awards, etc. And I used to feel like that too, but there are no Black-owned award shows.
First of all, BET's not Black-owned.
BET's not Black-owned. Soul Train isn't Black-owned. So right. What Black-owned award shows are we talking about?
I don't know. Let's talk about.
We got to start naming names.
Let's talk about the subpar job that these not Black-owned institutions were doing at providing us with quality award shows on top of that. Because they kept getting these old-ass Black figureheads and handing them money to give us these subpar shows when the place wasn't even Black-owned to begin with. But they need to fire all these motherfuckers and burn it down and get the new people in the building to start something new, because that is the lifeline in the blood, in the fabric of every community, mostly the Black community. I'm so sick of hearing about this Black award shit that don't exist.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist.
That shit. Stop that shit.
I was having a conversation with my barber today, and his wife used to work for BET in the 90s, and we had that conversation about Viacom buying BET in 2000 just to destroy it. And this is for people who worked there. You know what I'm saying? They clearly saw that this company bought BET just to tear it in the ground. Let's be real. When Bob Johnson still owned BET, we had Teen Summit. We had BET News. We had all of these things that actually made this balanced programming for that audience. When Viacom bought it, it went away. And let's be real, the award show didn't happen. I think maybe Bob Johnson had BET 1 year for that award show, the first BET Awards. After that, it was theirs. And they tore that shit down. And that was actually the best one that they had.
It was the best one they ever did, Mike, and he didn't even have it for a full calendar year.
Exactly. So it ain't no Black award shows. And I would love for you guys to let me know what Black award shows exist that these artists aren't going to.
And this is what I mean about how I document this, and I want this stuff to live on. So the note that I just wrote down, BET, Viacom, 2000, sellouts. See, my family going to be able to pull this shit up.
Listen, I don't fault Bob Johnson for selling BET. I get it.
No, I don't fault him for selling BET. I faulted them for what they did with it.
Yeah, because this is the thing, and I'm going to be perfectly honest. Let's be real. I remember reading Barry Gordy's book, and he was talking about how the majors strong-armed him into selling Motown. They basically told him, like, look, you could either sell this or we could run you out of business type thing. Your overhead's this. You can't pay your artists what we can pay your artists. So your choices are either let this name live on forever and let us buy it, or your brand just goes away altogether. saying all that to say, if Bob Johnson doesn't sell BET to Viacom, are we disciplined enough as viewers to say if Viacom starts this mirrored channel that does the same exact thing the BET does, gives us fresh and new people there, that we gonna sit here and say, no, we're not watching that. We gonna watch BET. No.
We're not disciplined that way with our money. We run this economy technically.
We wouldn't sit there and say, you know what, we're not gonna go to BET's competitor. We're gonna watch BET.
We have no loyalty with each other. We don't trust each other.
So I don't fault him for selling. He did what he had to do. They probably strong-armed him in a way where it's like, look, you can either sell this for $1 billion or we'll run you out of business.
No, I'm going to tell you what he did that was smart. He took the money from a business where he knew he was going to get forced out of because the powers that be weren't going to let him be black.
He had it for 20 years.
Right. He made himself a billionaire, and he bought a team and made himself more of a viable businessman and not just an entertainment guy.
And he also made Michael Jordan the only black owner in all of sports.
There we go. So what I'm talking about, what he really did that was key, is that he realized that in the sphere that he was working in, they weren't going to let him pass any of the black legacy of it on. But when he stepped into the sports sphere in Michael Jordan, he had somebody he could pass ownership of a team to who was black, which was what the media and entertainment was not about to let him do. And so he did the right thing just because of that. It was the transfer of power and the money into another division where another black man could ascend and acquiesce some of the power.
And not just another black man. This is Michael Jordan.
No. And here's why it's so important. How many black owners are there in the NBA?
One.
Just out of curiosity. What's his name, Mike?
Michael Jordan.
Okay, there we go.
And why is that? Because of Bob Johnson. When you think about it in those terms, it took the most successful and the greatest basketball player of all time. It took for Bob Johnson to sell BET for $1 billion to create his own team in Charlotte for Michael Jordan to actually have ownership in the NBA. That is crazy.
To be able to ascend and acquire power in a realm where Mike, and I tell people this, it's not that he's the greatest player of all time. It's a gap between number one and number two. Whoever you have at number two, and they don't want to give that motherfucker a team.
Not even that. He made the NBA viable. He made the NBA the viable product that it is today.
No, Magic and Bird made the NBA viable because
he took it to the level that it's at now.
He's the level up.
Yeah.
Magic and Bird are the buy-in. Jordan's the level up.
Oh, definitely. On the endorsement level and all of that, like what we know pro athletes to be today, Michael Jordan did that, and they didn't want to let him in the owner's chair. It took Bob Johnson to do that. That's crazy.
You know what Michael Jordan's theme song should be? It should be A$AP Ferg's New Level, because that's what he is like for like black entertainment, sports, the league, everything is kind of actually centered around Mike. And some of that is timing. Most of that is his ability and his greatness. But the timing in which he came, he leveled all of this black entertainment, bossy and power shit up. Him and Magic, super important to this community. Super important. Mike, how about this? Mike employs more black people than Jay do. Fuck what you heard. And
that's
Puff.
real.
And
listen, Michael Jordan and Bob Johnson have put more black executives out there than anybody.
Yes, they have.
That's what they do. Blue Collar Hustler, shout out to you with the super chat. He says Nas earned the right to do whatever he wants. That is true. But that doesn't mean we have to agree with it. Mike 100 says, y'all show Nas more love than his own city media outlets do. Nas' core keeps him afloat. It's real shit. And we love Nas. We always love Nas because,
because they spend most of their time talking about how great Big and Jay are. Right.
When greatness is right in front of you. Active. All right, man. We could be on that all day, man. We like 2 hours and 15 minutes in. You ready to get to this chart for the day? That was a great discussion, by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't even expecting that. I'm really pissed off. But it's all good. Like,
Someone said, "Are y'all sure that Jay Prince ain't owned too?" Just like Black Lives Matter. I mean, listen, I don't know what type of distribution the Rap-A-Lot has had over the past 10, 15, 20 years.
I'm about to say, in all
We
honesty,
we know that Revolt is owned by Comcast, whatever. It was started by Comcast because it's, a minority ownership clause and quota they got to fill. We know that Rock Nation is Live Nation. Where else you want to go? We know Dr. Dre sold the shares to Apple Music and all that stuff and their relationship, Interscope and all that. I don't really see the connection with Jay Prince, really. I'm sure he does business here and there, but who's the last Rap-A-Lot artist that you would say had mainstream success?
Has a Rap-A-Lot artist had mainstream success?
I can't think of it. So,
I mean, I'm not being shady.
No, I'm not being shady. I'm just talking about, people being owned by other entities.
Tila's I Want to Be a Baller, is that Rap-A-Lot or is that Suave?
That was Suave.
When they ever had a mainstream rapper?
Right. I mean, it's been a minute if they have. And I don't even know who Rap-A-Lot's actually distributed by to this
Priority.
day. Is it,
Used to be
is it
Priority.
still Priority? Okay.
I don't know if it still is. That's what I'm saying. What it used to be, like Ice Cube, Scarface.
Those are more
Priority.
independent thinkers anyway. So, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
look,
Yeah.
bring the evidence to the table and we'll analyze it and examine it and talk about it. But it seems like he's thinking on his own. Seems like him and Kanye had a conversation. He sees where Kanye's coming from, and he's acting on his own, volition. So